Ascent of Shadows, the perilous climb to conquer Earth's pinnacle. The howling wind roared through the narrow crevices of the jagged mountain, a stark reminder of the sheer force of nature. Nicole tightened her grip on the frozen rope, her knuckles a pale shade of white under her thick gloves. Behind her, Peter adjusted his ice axe, his gaze sweeping over the abyss below them. They were suspended thousands of feet above the ground, their only companions the biting cold and the relentless pull of gravity. "Nicole, are you sure about this path?" Peter's voice crackled through the comm link, his breath visible in the icy air. "It's the only way, Peter," she replied, her tone resolute. "We've come too far to turn back now." The two climbers had spent the last month preparing for this expedition, a daring attempt to reach the summit of the world's tallest and most treacherous peak. The mountain, cloaked in perpetual snow and mist, had claimed countless lives. But for Nicole and Peter, this was more than a climb. It was a test of endurance, willpower, and the unyielding human spirit. They pressed on, inching their way up the near-vertical face. Each step was a battle against the elements. The wind seemed intent on peeling them off the mountain, while the sub-zero temperatures gnawed at their extremities. Despite the odds, their determination burned brighter than ever. Hours later, they reached a small ledge, barely wide enough for both of them to sit. Nicole pulled out a thermos, pouring steaming tea into a metal cup. Her hands shook as she passed it to Peter. "Here," she said, her voice softer now. "We need to stay hydrated." Peter accepted the cup with a nod, his eyes scanning the horizon. The sun was setting, casting an ethereal golden glow over the icy landscape. It was beautiful, yet unforgiving, a stark reminder of the mountain's duality. "Do you ever think about why we do this?" Peter asked, his voice carrying a hint of vulnerability. Nicole looked at him, her blue eyes reflecting the fading light. "Because it's there," she said simply. "Because the mountain challenges us to be more than we are." Peter smiled faintly, his breath catching as he looked at her. In that moment, he wasn't sure if it was the altitude or something else entirely that made his chest tighten. The night descended like a velvet curtain, bringing with it a bone-chilling cold. Nicole and Peter huddled together in their tent, the flimsy fabric barely shielding them from the elements. The radio crackled to life, a static-filled voice breaking the silence. "Base camp to Nicole and Peter. Do you copy?" Nicole reached for the radio, her fingers stiff from the cold. "We copy. Base camp. Over. You're nearing the dead zone. Winds are picking up. Be cautious." "Understood." Over and out. The dead zone. The words hung in the air like an ominous warning. Above a certain altitude, the oxygen levels were so low that the human body began to deteriorate. Every second spent, there was a race against time. The next morning, they resumed their climb. The air grew thinner with every step, each breath a laborious effort. Nicole's mind drifted to her younger brother, who had always looked up to her. She had promised him she would return safely. That promise was her anchor, her reason to keep moving forward. Peter, meanwhile, was battling his own demons. He thought of his father, a seasoned climber who had perished on a similar expedition years ago. This climb was his way of honoring his memory, of proving that the spirit of adventure lived on. They reached the final stretch as the first rays of dawn kissed the snow-covered peak. The summit was within sight, but the path was fraught with danger. A narrow ridge stretched before them, flanked by sheer drops on either side. The wind howled with renewed ferocity, whipping snow into their faces. "Stay close," Peter said, his voice firm. "We can't afford any mistakes now." Nicole nodded, her heart pounding as they inched their way across the ridge. Each step felt like an eternity, the weight of their ambition pressing down on them. Suddenly, the ice beneath Peter's foot gave way. He slipped, his body plummeting toward the abyss. Nicole's instincts kicked in as she drove her ice axe into the ridge and gripped the rope tethering them together. "Hold on, Peter," she screamed, her voice raw with desperation. Peter dangled precariously, his face pale but determined. "I'm trying." With every ounce of strength she had, Nicole began to pull him up. The rope bit into her hands, the strain nearly unbearable, but she refused to let go. Inch by inch, Peter clawed his way back onto the ridge, his breaths ragged. They collapsed onto the icy surface, their bodies trembling from the adrenaline. Nicole turned to Peter, her eyes blazing with emotion. "Don't you ever do that again," she said, her voice cracking. Peter managed a weak smile. "I didn't plan on it." Hours later, they stood on the summit, the world stretching out before them in an endless expanse of white and blue. The wind was fierce, but for the first time, it felt like a song, a tribute to their triumph. Nicole and Peter embraced, their exhaustion forgotten in the face of their achievement. They had conquered the mountain, but more importantly, they had conquered their fears and doubts. As they began their descent, the realization dawned on them. The climb was only half the journey. The mountain still held challenges, but they were no longer the same people who had started this expedition. They were stronger, braver, and united in a way that only the mountain could forge. And so, with the sun at their backs and the summit behind them, Nicole and Peter embarked on the next chapter of their adventure, forever changed by the ascent of shadows.
The Lost City: A Journey to the Edge of Time. In the heart of the Amazon rainforest, where the dense canopy conceals secrets that have remained hidden for millennia, a team of archaeologists embarks on an expedition that will change the course of history. The journey is not just a search for a lost city. It is a battle against time, nature, and the very elements that have guarded this ancient civilization for centuries. Dr. Marcus Hale, a renowned archaeologist with a reputation for uncovering some of the most significant historical artifacts of the modern era, stands at the forefront of this daring mission. His obsession with finding the legendary city of Zanara, believed to be a hub of advanced knowledge and technology in the ancient world, has led him to assemble a team of the best and brightest. The team consists of Dr. Emily Carter, a brilliant linguist and expert in ancient languages, Alex Reynolds, a tech-savvy geographer skilled in navigating uncharted territories, and Carlos Mendez, a local guide whose knowledge of the Amazon is unparalleled. Together, they form an unbreakable bond, united by their shared goal of making one of the greatest archaeological discoveries of all time. The journey begins in Manaus, where the team gathers supplies and hires a small rickety boat to take them deep into the Amazon. The locals speak of Zanara in hushed tones, referring to it as the City of Shadows, a place where no man has returned. The team dismisses these warnings as mere superstitions, confident in their skills and technology. As they venture deeper into the jungle, the environment becomes increasingly hostile. The thick foliage, relentless humidity, and swarms of insects are just the beginning. The deeper they go, the more they sense a presence watching them, a feeling that is hard to shake off. They press on, guided by ancient maps and cryptic clues, each step bringing them closer to their goal. Days turn into weeks, and the team faces numerous challenges, from venomous snakes to treacherous river crossings. Tensions rise as the pressure mounts, but Dr. Hale's determination never wavers. He believes that they are on the brink of discovering something extraordinary, something that will rewrite the history books. Their perseverance pays off when they come across a series of stone carvings, half buried under centuries of jungle growth. Dr. Carter deciphers the symbols, which seem to depict the journey of an ancient people seeking refuge in Zanara after a great cataclysm. The carvings lead them to a hidden valley, surrounded by towering cliffs and shrouded in mist. As they descend into the valley, they are greeted by the sight of massive stone structures, overgrown with vines, but still standing tall. The city of Zanara is real, and it is more magnificent than they could have ever imagined. The architecture is unlike anything they have seen before, with towering ziggurats, intricate carvings, and massive stone statues that seem to watch over the city. However, their celebration is short-lived. The discovery of Zanara has triggered a series of events that were best left undisturbed. The ground trembles as ancient mechanisms, long dormant, awaken. The team realizes that Zanara was built not just as a city, but as a fortress designed to protect its secrets at all costs. As the ancient defenses come to life, the team must race against time to uncover the city's mysteries before it is too late. Dr. Carter deciphers more carvings that reveal Zanara was built to safeguard a powerful artifact, one that could change the course of history. This artifact, known as the Heart of Zanara, is said to possess the power to control the elements and even alter time itself. The team splits up to search the city, each member driven by their own motivations. Dr. Hale is determined to find the artifact, convinced that it holds the key to unlocking the mysteries of the past. Alex uses his geospatial tools to map out the city's layout, discovering hidden chambers and passageways that lead deep underground. Carlos, familiar with the jungle's dangers, stays on high alert, ready to defend the team from any threats. As they delve deeper into the city's underground chambers, they encounter a series of traps and puzzles designed to keep intruders at bay. These are no ordinary traps. They are sophisticated mechanisms that require a deep understanding of ancient engineering and architecture to bypass. Dr. Hale's knowledge and experience are put to the test as he deciphers the complex systems, narrowly avoiding deadly pitfalls. Tensions within the team reach a breaking point when they discover the remains of previous explorers who attempted to find Zanara. Their skeletal remains serve as a grim reminder of the dangers they face. Doubts and fears begin to creep in, but Dr. Hale's resolve only strengthens. He is convinced that they are close to finding the Heart of Zanara. After what feels like an eternity, they finally reach the heart of the city, a massive chamber carved out of the rock with a giant stone pedestal in the center. Atop the pedestal sits the Heart of Zanara, a glowing crystal that pulsates with a strange energy. The air in the chamber is thick with tension as the team approaches the artifact. But as Dr. Hale reaches out to take the heart, the ground shakes violently. The city's ancient defense systems are fully activated, and the chamber begins to collapse. The team must make a split-second decision: take the artifact and risk their lives, or leave it behind and escape the collapsing city. In a moment of clarity, Dr. Hale realizes that the power of the Heart of Zanara is too great to be unleashed on the world. He makes the ultimate sacrifice, placing the artifact back on its pedestal and triggering the city's self-destruction sequence. The team barely escapes as the city of Zanara collapses into the earth, taking its secrets with it. As they emerge from the jungle, battered and bruised but alive, they realize that they have achieved something far greater than the discovery of a lost city. They have uncovered a part of history that was never meant to be found, and in doing so, they have saved the world from a power that could have brought about its destruction. The story of Zanara will live on in the memories of those who were there, but its true secrets will remain buried in the depths of the Amazon, where they belong. This tale of adventure, danger, and discovery is a reminder that some secrets are better left undiscovered, and that the greatest treasures are not found in gold or jewels, but in the knowledge that some mysteries are meant to remain hidden.